This is the Praça City Market. This is the main enclosed market in Braga, and as you can see, this place is massive. I'm just blown away by how much stuff is in here. So you walk in and immediately you see all the produce, and there's tons and tons of produce vendors, which is great. But what really struck me is the number of flower vendors. There are tons of people selling flowers, making arrangements, selling bunches, and people are buying them. I don't know why the flower culture here is so strong, but I've seen so many people walking out with bouquets of flowers. As we were walking up here, I'm like, oh, flowers, flowers, flowers. And then you come in here and you see all the flowers that people are buying, that are on display, that people are selling. It's quite extraordinary. I haven't seen anything like this outside of a market that's just dedicated to flowers. Everyone is coming in here to buy flowers. Even if they're buying their produce, they're still buying flowers too. I didn't see much in terms of prepared food, although there are some cheese and meat vendors in here, but a lot of markets are going to the prepared food model, where they've got pop-up restaurants and it becomes more of a food hall. And nothing wrong with that, I shop at those. But this is more of a produce market. So if you need some goods for your picnic, or if you need some goods for making dinner in your Airbnb, this would be a great place to come. For me, we got some dried fava beans, yum, and some chocolate-covered almonds, yum, and a mix of nuts and dried fruit, all of that for our train ride back home to Setúbal. So that should keep us fed and happy for the 3-hour train ride back. This is a Paladrish, a vegan restaurant just on the outskirts of the old town. And coming here for lunch. Too much pastry and we need some healthy food, so came to Paladrish. Karen got the plate of the day, which is a fusilli pasta and tofu. Looks really good, topped with some basil. Nice tomato sauce in there. And then I got the mock tuna. Now, most of the mock tunas that I've seen are made with chickpeas and vegan mayo. This one, I was told, is made with tofu, so that's a little different. Give this a try. This is going to be tough to do with any elegance whatsoever. Wow, that's really good. I'm usually reluctant with these meat substitute things, comparing them and saying, well, it tastes like meat, it doesn't taste like meat. At the end of the day, who cares whether it tastes like meat or not like meat? I just care if it tastes good or not. This tastes really nice. You get that creaminess with the vegan mayo. There's a little saltiness in there. There's a crunch with the lettuce and some nice toasted bread on it. So whether or not it tastes like tuna, to me, is irrelevant. You might say, oh, it tastes just like tuna. That's fine. But to me, does it taste good? Yes, it does. Now, also got this fresh squeezed juice. Looks like orange juice, but actually it's much more interesting because they added in some fresh ginger and some citrus, a little bit of lemon. I love having ginger in my juice because it adds that little bit of heat, that little bit of sharpness to it. Orange juice, you know, it's great. I love fresh squeezed orange juice. It can be a little bit boring sometimes. Adding that in is really, really nice. So Good stuff. And I think the sandwich was like €5. The plate of the day was €6. 250 for the glass of juice. So very, very reasonable price here in Braga at Paladrish. Time for dinner. We're at Anjo Verde. We're just outside of the very center of the city, right beyond the gate to the city, but we're still in Braga, maybe a block or two from the cathedral, so very centrally located. This is a vegetarian restaurant. We decided to come here and try it for dinner, and I'll tell you what I got. So we got these little meatless balls of like a riff on a Portuguese sausage. Salty, crispy. It has a smoky flavor to it, so it is kind of meat. So meaty. El reja, I think is how you pronounce it. That's yummy, so that's good. And then we got a vegetable soup. It's just carrots, potatoes. It's been pureed, a little parsley on the top. Oh, now that's really good soup. Now, Karen makes the best soup, my favorite soup that I ever have. She makes great soups. I'm not going to say this is better, but it's going to give Karen a run for her money. It's good. Not better though. Okay. And then I got this little plate here. So, got a mushroom and leek quiche. And then I didn't realize it came with all these sides around it. Of course, we're in Portugal, so it comes with rice. And then it's got a little salad here with carrots and lettuce and tomato, beets, and then a little medley of sauteed veggies, some cabbage and some more carrots. And then here's my quiche. Ooh. So there's a lot of mushrooms in there. Sometimes with a quiche, it can be too much egg and not enough other stuff in there. This is really, oh man, those mushrooms are so good. I don't even think we're in prime mushroom season here in Portugal. But up here in the north, yeah, it's probably still mushroom season up here in the north, including Braga and Porto. We had great mushrooms in Porto, and now we're repeating it again here in Braga. So mushrooms are really, really tasty here. Yeah, I like that a lot. We'll see how much of that I end up sharing with Karen. And a little cup of red wine. Now, so good. Before you say anything, I know I got the quiche, I got the rice, I got some soup here, so probably should have gotten red wine, but you know what? I wasn't in the mood for red wine, or white wine, so I got red wine instead. That's what I got, and I'm happy with my choice, and I'm not going to apologize for it. So that's our dinner. Anjo Verde, I think a really excellent choice here in Braga. Well, it's time for lunch. This is Vegan Details, little vegan hole-in-the-wall spot in this nondescript shopping mall here in Braga. Now, if you saw my videos on Porto, you'll notice I didn't have a francesinha in Porto. Porto is really famous for the giant meat bomb sandwich called the francesinha. But we didn't get it there. We ran out of time, really. So came to Braga, and Braga, if you talk to someone from Braga, they will tell you they make the best francesinhas, not Porto. So thought we'd come in here and try a francesinha. So what is it? Well, here's the deal. Get a couple thick slices of bread, and you stuff it with several different kinds of meat. Pork, chicken, cow, different types of stuff, different places that you happen to go to. Then you top it with cheese, heat it up till it's melty, and then it's topped again with a tomato-based gravy. And if you talk to folks who are francesinha aficionados, they'll tell you it's the gravy that makes all the difference. So their favorite place that they go to will have their favorite gravy. Some are more spicy, some are more mild, some are more tomatoey, some may be made with beer. So it's all about the sauce, even though it's this giant meat bomb. We here at Vegan Details, we're getting a vegan version. So they've got the vegan meats on the inside. So let's give it a try. You can see it's got the cheese on top, so that's a vegan cheese. So, first off, the gravy. That's more like what I would call a brown gravy than a tomato-based gravy. But it's good. It's got some spiciness to it. As far as the meat goes, I think these are just off-the-shelf, prepackaged vegan meat. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's good. So I got a little sausage in there. I think maybe there's a zucchini on the bottom as well. So that's nice. This thing is huge, absolutely massive. So I just got one. When I ordered it, the lady asked, "You want two? One for me, one for Karen?" No, we're going to split this, and we probably won't even finish the whole thing. But there you go. There's your francesinha here in Braga. Do they have bragging rights? I don't know. Haven't had one in Porto yet this time around. So we'll give Braga the crown for this go. This is the Nogueira de Silva Museum here in Braga. This place, I don't even know where to start about telling you about this place. I guess the place to start is with the entrance, because if you're walking along the street here in Braga, you would pass right by this and not give it a second thought. I mean, it's right by a bus stop, so people are just hanging out. It's on a fairly loud street. You wouldn't even notice it. But then you come inside and there's this massive house. Now, come to Portugal, and a lot of the palaces, they were built during the height of Portuguese power in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, around that time. This place was built in the 1960s during the Estado Novo regime, the fascist regime run by Salazar from the 1930s through the 1970s. So this was built much later in the Portuguese modernist style. But this guy, de Silva, who owned it, he was obviously extraordinarily wealthy because he was an entrepreneur who was pals with the Estado Novo regime. And he gained tons and tons of wealth. I mean, unbelievable amounts of money. It should be noted, though, that first of all, this was a fascist regime. And while some people have a soft spot in their hearts for this time in Portuguese history because, you know, people were doing fairly well and the economy was pretty good, you did not want to be on the bad side of these fascists. Everyone knows you get on the wrong side of a fascist and bad things happened. Here in Portugal, maybe it wasn't quite as brutal as some of the other fascist regimes, but still, if you were politically opposed to Salazar, you could have a world of hurt. You could be tortured. You could be imprisoned. You could even be murdered. So that needs to be pointed out. This de Silva guy, he worked closely with Estado Novo. He was friends with them. There's even a painting of him in there making him look like a military general. So, you know, I'm not going to be an apologist for this guy. It should be noted that he was, in essence, part of the Estado Novo regime, or at least adjacent to it, and that's how he garnered his wealth. Anyway, that aside, he filled his house with all of this magnificent artwork. You walk inside and you are just stunned, room to room to room, the stuff that is in here. Paintings, Flemish, Italian, Portuguese, from Renaissance times up through the 1800s. There's French furniture that comes from the Napoleonic times. There is Chinese porcelain. Then there is European porcelain. After the Europeans cracked the code of Chinese porcelain and started manufacturing their own, there's European porcelain. There is Portuguese porcelain in there. It is quite incredible, room to room. And the nice thing about this is, this museum, when we came in, €3 to enter, and then they give you this little old school audio guide. And you can get it in English or in Portuguese. Obviously, we got it in English, and it tells you in quite a lot of detail, very interesting detail, the collection that's going on in there. Now, you know, sometimes collections have a single focus, like this guy was interested in one thing and that's it. Not to Silva. It seemed like he was interested in anything as long as it was beautiful and expensive and rare, and he put them all in here. There's inlaid teak furniture and marble, and I couldn't even begin to list all the things that are in this museum. Then you come out the back door and there's these gardens. There's a beautiful rose garden. There's statuary all over the place in here. And of course, we're in Portugal, so there's these beautiful tiles. This mural behind me is extraordinarily beautiful. So don't miss this museum, I would say, when you come to Braga. It's worth your time, it's inexpensive, and it's absolutely stunning right in the heart of Braga. All right, it's time for dinner. We're at Gastro Superior. This is a vegetarian restaurant in Braga. And of course, the moment that we headed over here, it just opened up and started raining like crazy. Luckily, we had our umbrellas with us, but you know, they only do so much when it's raining like that. So we got very wet. And so when we walked in, we sat down and they immediately put this pot of hot tea on the table, which was certainly greatly appreciated. Then we got a bowl of hot soup that we shared. It was a potato and spinach puree soup that was very nice. Now, when you come here, first thing I did, first time here, of course, ask for a menu. And they're like, no menu. They basically have 3 dishes, and you choose from those. So they had a francesinha. Didn't feel like that. We already had one of those while we were here. I got a rice dumpling filled with vegetables, basmati rice, and some salad and some sauteed veggies. This plate is huge. Karen, smarter than me, she got the smaller plate. But let's try this. Oh, there's tofu in here too. And really nice. That gravy has almost a little bit of sweetness to it. Maybe it's the peppers in there that are adding to that sweetness profile. That's really good. I like the idea that the dough is made out of rice flour. It's a little softer, a little more light texture than if it was with wheat flour. Oh. Cabbage, water chestnuts. I don't think I've had water chestnuts since I've been in Portugal. Maybe we had some when we had some Mozambique cuisine in Lisbon, but I don't recall. Have a little bit of rice with that. Yeah, this place is nice. So, you know, just go with the flow when you come here. Your dish comes out when it comes out. Everyone pretty much came in at the same time. They were in the weeds a little bit in the kitchen, but they did a great job. They got this out to us, you know, relatively quickly. It's hot, it really tastes good, and it's warming me up on this rainy day, so I'm going to enjoy this. And you can tell this is a nice, loud, you know, almost rambunctious atmosphere. People are having fun, and I think we're going to have some fun too. This is Soul. It's a vegan and gluten-free restaurant here in Braga. And boy, I mean, you know, first of all, going vegan, that's going to limit your clientele, and gluten-free. So the fact that this place can be supported with that much of a niche restaurant is pretty impressive. I mean, we're here and it's pretty full. A lot of customers and people coming in and out getting their to-go orders too. So, and it's off the beaten path. I mean, it's in this little alleyway in kind of a dingy little arcade shopping mall. So they've got like a couple ladies that do alterations here, and then there's Soul Kitchen and a guy who does real estate, and that's about it. So it's an interesting spot. The food looks terrific. So I got something called a Soul Bowl, and it's got hummus and greens and shiitake mushrooms. Oh man, that hummus is really, really nice. It's warm, so that's good. And it's got chia seeds on it. Adds a little bit of extra to it. Then there's some shiitake mushrooms here. Just so rich in umami flavor. They roasted that nicely. It's not overdone, really tasty. Oh, and some sauteed veggies with it. Wow. So tasty. I mean, we've been eating so much pastry since we got here, and I've got a pastry video to back that up. But it's really nice here in Braga to be able to eat healthy food to kind of try and offset that a little, because man, when you're eating all of that cream and egg and sugar, it can be a bit much. So for lunch and dinner, we're eating these really nice, healthy meals. They also have these little empanadas, so decided to get one of these. This one's a mushroom. Super tasty. And then look at what Karen got. So she was like, oh, I just want a little something. She got the quiche, spinach quiche, and then it came with all this sweet potato chips, a salad on the side, this giant thing. So I have the feeling I'm going to be helping her out with this, which of course I do not mind one bit. Ooh. All right. So that vegan quiche is really nice. The crust is nice and crunchy. It's not like soft and gummy. Sometimes you can get that with gluten-free crust. This is nice and crispy. And the quiche part, so it's vegan, so it's not made with eggs. And this is really fluffy. It has almost the consistency of a ricotta cheese, which with spinach, so good, so nice. All right, and then we've got our sweet potato chips. Love sweet potato chips. A little bit of hummus. Oh, yum. Wow, this place is great. Their hours, they're only open during the day. They're not open for dinner. It's like 12 to 6, I think, are their hours. So, you know, if you're planning on coming, don't plan to come for dinner. But, wow, I think we're gonna get some stuff to go from here because this is so good. We're gonna have to maybe snack on some of these things later on. I'm not sure, maybe that empanada, that might be a nice little hand food. But this place is terrific. I really like Seoul.